pit floors at dusk, confessions by the cash cave. My name is Ari and my job is to make luck look regulated. I'm the swing shift pit boss at the Ambrosia, a casino that believes velvet ropes can teach restraint and chandeliers can bribe time. On paper I balance fills, track ratings, comp stake to whales who want forgiveness with Béarnais, and remind dealers that probability doesn't care about charm. In practice I translate appetite. Players want permission to believe. Surveillance wants saints with spreadsheets. Management wants the math to smile. I carry a pencil I sharpen like a threat, a clicker for headcounts, and a small stack of incident slips that know more about human nature than any sermon. I live with Lucas. He's a sous chef at a neighborhood bistro where onions apologize and stockpots tell the truth. He smells like smoke and time and the kind of patience you spend slowly. We have a rule written on an index card and taped to the fridge under a magnet shaped like a green felt chip. Say it by sunrise. We wrote it after a winter when midnight honesty turned into performance and mornings didn't know what show they'd missed. The Thursday the Baccarat shoes behaved and I didn't. A conference of beverage distributors had colonized the Ambrosia's ballroom and were practicing loyalty at the bar. Floor traffic came in waves. Sales guys with badge lanyards and expense accounts who wanted blackjack to adore them. At 4:56 a.m., with the room holding its breath between hands, my phone buzzed with the joint email Lucas and I use for deliveries and admissions. Thank you for your stay, the Seraph. Time 12:083:02. Points 200 added. Sunrise sat up on the edge of my chest like a bouncer and crossed his arms. I didn't call Lucas. Our second rule covers the things that can still be walked off. 2 loops around the service corridors before nomming it. The Ambrosia's back halls are a private city, linens that remember, ice machines that confess. I walked past surveillance, where the monitors glow like temples, past the break room microwave that forgives sins in 30-second increments, past the cash cage where fluorescent light makes even dollars look mortal. The cameras hummed the sentence ceilings prefer. You already know. He was waiting at my float like a rumor that had shaved. Damon Vale, he said, and his badge said Player Development Consultant, a job that means teaching money how to think it's wanted. He wore a suit that believed in its own tailoring and a smile that practiced not remembering details. He shook my hand like a man who collects handshakes before breakfast and watched my dealers the way wolves watch gates. You run a clean pit, he said, and the compliment arrived already tipped. We keep the odds honest, I said. You make losing feel like practice, he answered, and slid a marker request toward the cashier with fingers that had health insurance. He won for a while, the way men who plan to do. He watched me call for fills and color-ups, watched me bump a rating when a man started betting like he believed he could learn gravity. Drink after shift, Damon asked, soft enough to pass as courtesy. The Seraph bar is pretending to forgive me. Lucas texted a photo of 2 bandaged fingers and a note. Mandoline, 2 Lucas, 0, sunrise. I sent a heart and a crossed fingers emoji and meant both. The Seraph bar is designed to make receipts feel inevitable. Damon sat in the corner where the lamp wanted to be worshipped. He asked me what it feels like to stand next to luck all night. I told him it feels like being a firefighter in a city made of paper. Every happy ending is borrowed from a different hour. He touched the back of my hand with 2 fingers like he was checking whether I was live. He didn't say here. He made the elevator button into a verb. His room smelled like citrus and the kind of carpet that forgives a story. He kissed like he'd rehearsed generosity and finally believed his own notes. He pressed me against the window and the strip outside blinked yes like a slot in heat. He was generous where practiced men are, and selfish where mouths remember their animals. I put my hands where agreements live. We left the lamp on because daylight had been written into the terms 3 floors ago when I didn't say no. After, he lay on his back and watched the ceiling sprinkler like a critic. "You'll forgive him," he said, meaning Lucas, meaning the person who salts my food and my temper correctly. "I'll speak by sunrise," I said, and he smiled as if I'd signed a host comp with my mouth. Lucas was home when I slipped in, the apartment smelling like citrus and bone broth. He'd stacked containers labeled with tape in his chef's capitals: Sunday, soup; Monday, mercy. At sunrise, we stood under the green chip magnet, and I said hotel, elevator, mouth, hands, yes. I did not adjust the nouns into better shapes. He listened the way a line cook listens for orders in a kitchen that's just slightly too loud. "Do you love him?" he asked, not for cruelty, for triage. "I love the hour when nobody needs me to be the adult," I said. He nodded, took the marker, and wrote under our rule: "No rooms we can't name in this kitchen. If anything breaks, we break it together before noon." He underlined together like a closing shift. He kissed my temple and said, "Eat." Damon did not understand one night, because men who monetize appetite think everything renews if you swipe again. He started appearing at my pit without a host, touching the rail with a familiarity I wanted to wipe down. He sent a photo of the ambrosia chandelier with the caption "Proof," as if light were a receipt I owed him. He learned 2 dealers' names and said them like he deserved first-name status with strangers. The city's gossip vertical posted a grainy serif elevator still, my shoulder his mouth, the caption "Pit Boss plays off the floor." Lucas didn't forward it. He printed it and taped it inside the cabinet where we keep the good olive oil, then took it down at sunrise and replaced it with a list: lemons, bandages, patience. This is how he archives. Nothing heavy where we reach for daily use. Props like our kind of story. The serif called to say housekeeping had found a narrow gold ring in a room tied to the email I use when I don't want my phone to betray me. Engraved D plus A inside like arithmetic pretending to be fate. Not mine. The clerk asked if I wanted to claim it. "Hold for owner," I said with the same voice I use for Phil on 23. Work tried to rescue me with honest math. A slot bank threw a tantrum. A roulette player accused a dealer of blowing on the ball with his eyes. Surveillance wanted to review a hand where the cut card performed prophecy. I walked, I smiled, I comped. I wrote an incident slip that used the word disagreement like a safety harness. Damon texted, "You're better when the room is scared," and I almost wrote back the thing I am not proud of, I know. Then the little red light winked where no light should be. Ramon from surveillance called me up to the eye. He rewound a feed from Baccarat 1 and zoomed in on the underside of the high roller rail. A matchbox-sized recorder, taped, patient, impolite. It had been collecting table talk. Bet said half under breath, dealer small talk. The glittering nonsense whales confide when they think money gives them privacy. We peeled it off with a plastic scraper, gloved because rumors are contagious. The sticker on the back belonged to a firm hired by marketing to enhance player experience. Damon had name-dropped the owner during a story about loyalty programs that made me want to count to 1,000. I told Lucas at sunrise. He made coffee like a policy. "Are we trying to be interesting or are we trying to be together?" he asked, voice gentle enough to sharpen steel. "Because we can be one of those. The other eats us." "Together," I said, and meant it like a floor limit. Damon tried a finale with choreography. He cornered me near the cash cage, where the lights make everyone honest whether they intend to be or not. He held up the ring between 2 fingers so it glittered like a bet he'd already hedged. "Say my name," he said, not as a plea, but as if the syllables notarized what we'd done. "Damon," I said, and his smile did that small, cruel thing men's smiles do when they've learned no won't kill them. Exit, I added, and meant the door, the story, the habit. He pocketed the ring like a receipt and called me precise. I told him I prefer accurate. He laughed and went to lose money with grace. The recorder became a memo that became a policy that became a sign. The firm was fired in a paragraph with the words regret and values standing too close to each other. We posted small decals at every high-limit entrance. Recording without consent prohibited. Surveillance re-watched a week of nights inside. Dealers told jokes without whispering. The whales kept confiding to the felt. If you came for the erotics notarized, here is the ledger. There was a wall, a yes, hands where we agreed they belonged, a mouth that believed in the moment more than the man. The lamp stayed on because daylight had been part of the bargain since the elevator. It was heat without metaphor. It was bodies operating at capacity. It was a city outside blinking permission in every color it could afford. If you came for intrigue plated, you may keep these. A ring with arithmetic, a recorder with ambitions, an elevator camera that envies art, a pit floor where men pretend numbers can be persuaded by charm. If you came for redemption, I can offer maintenance, coupons for honesty, apologies in cash, a schedule where truth is due at sunrise. Lucas and I practiced boring and learned it was mostly detail. He pressed his thumb to the hollow under my jaw one morning and asked, "Here." I said, "Now," because consent likes clocks. We left the lamp on. We left the window cracked. We ate eggs that behaved and toast that didn't. He wrote another line on our card: "If you burn something, do it where I can see and help find water." We didn't laminate it. Paper needs to breathe. The ring's other initial claimed a shape. A man named Carter arrived at the Seraph with a lawyer who looked like a receipt and retrieved the band with the grace of someone who knows what it costs to print his name on bags. He nodded at me in a lobby full of marble and apology. I nodded back with the universal expression, "For I am not your story." Work stayed work. A dealer cried in a supply closet because a whale called her lucky and meant it like ownership. I told her the only truth I get to give. Your hands are not a weather pattern. A tourist danced a small private dance when a machine decided to be generous. I comped him a steak and wrote "celebratory conduct" on a slip because language can be kind if you let it. Ramon taught a new hire how to Zoom without getting dizzy. Damon sent one last text from a number that looked like a pop-up. "You were precise," it said. I muted the thread. Sometimes at 4 a.m., I stand by the cash cage and listen to money be mortal. It shuffles. It whispers. It forgives nothing and promises less. I think of Lucas's hands cutting parsley into a green confetti that smells like a yes, and I practice the sentence the casino taught me without meaning to. Not everything that feels like a win is a profit. At sunrise, we stand under the chip magnet and say the thing. The city starts baking bread and boiling bones and washing last night out of its hair. The ambrosia resets her smile. The seraph forgets our names. I sharpen my pencil. Lucas kisses me like I didn't lose the house. For a few hours at a time, probability behaves, and so do I. The rest is practice. Say it by sunrise, hold the doors, count the rack, choose the hand you keep.